What's good? We back. Boxing Clinic and more. CJ Sports Corner Entertainment. NFL Week 1 review. Gonna try to roll through it as much as we can and get a lot to the major sticking points and talk about some big games and some big things that went down. The opening game was Kansas City versus New England, and it seemed that New England had Kansas City number early on. A lot of things started to go that way with the banner raising celebration, and Kansas City, get them credit, adjusted. Alex Smith, found that throwing past 10 yards wasn't a sacrificial sin. But they beat New England, and I look for New England to adjust and keep going strong. And Kansas City lost Eric Berry, so hopefully they get time by lead back, and they get some things in their favor as well. Oakland and Tennessee was a game that we thought was going to be a lot closer than what it was. Marshawn Lynch, they eased him into the offense, but he looked very good for a guy that took all of 2016 off. He had that juice in his legs. He looked fresh. He ran with power, was elusive. Oakland, looked just like they did before Derek Carr broke his fibula, I think it was. Crabtree caught a few balls. Amari Cooper dropped the one at the goal line, but caught a touchdown. They stopped the run was most important. That's the one thing they got to do is stop the run. Their defense was piss poor last year. It looked like it got better this year, and they could be a force to be reckoned with. Pittsburgh didn't look like we thought they would look, or maybe Cleveland is just better than we thought. But Pittsburgh, like they got a long way to go with on offense with Martavius Bryant, Antonio Brown, and I wasn't gonna start Le'Veon Bell in fantasy. He didn't train, practice in training camp any, and also when you don't practice in training camp, you get injured. So I'll be worried of him. I look for him to get on track very soon. No need to panic for them. They beat Cleveland. Atlanta, Chicago's one of those games I was skeptical to pick the point spread against or with for the simple fact that Chicago has an underrated defense. They got a lot of up-and-coming stars on the defense, and usually when dome teams like Atlanta go outside, they tend to struggle, and Atlanta did. And people try to think, Super Bowl hangover. No, it's just that they're outside on grass. They're a turf team, a dome team, but they found a way to win with a big 88-yard pass, I think it was, to Austin Hooper, with a blown coverage in Chicago secondary. Somebody let the tight end go right down the middle, broke a tackle, he was gone. So Chicago's going to be a solid team. Once they get some consistent quarterback play, they didn't get any consistent quarterback play on Sunday, and Kevin White, I think he's out for the season, so he's definitely a bust. So it's probably going to be a long season for them on the offensive side, or a lot of work for Jordan Howard. I don't think it's any time for the crowd to put Mitchell Trubisky in right now. Until they get some offensive things figured out, I would bench him. I would keep him on the bench, learning in the classroom, because they have really no receivers to help this kid out with right now. And I would just, get the offensive line, continue to build. It's getting better than what it was. Get him receivers, some weapons he can grow, and just let Mike Glennon, take the beating, the $15 million beating. Seattle and Green Bay was another good one as well. It was a defensive, slobber knocker. And once again, Green Bay always gets gifts at Lambeau. And they got a gift where Jeremy Lane got a touchdown call back off a fumble because a phantom punch that he threw. And that could have completely changed the momentum of that game towards the Seahawks' favor. Instead, it changed the momentum to the Packers' way. And Aaron Rodgers made one big throw, and that was the end. Seattle didn't address, try to address their offensive line needs. It's basically just Russell Wilson making it happen with his legs. Maybe they did. I think that left tackle got injured, and they still can't run the ball. And if you can't run the ball or sum up some defense versus that Green Bay Packers defense, I don't know what to tell you. I understand they got Nick Perry, Clay Matthews, and Mike Daniels still down there, and Hyde Clayton Dix, but, that secondary is very green. Inside linebackers are very green. Clay Matthews moving back out to the out. They should have did a lot more versus that offense, that defense, and they couldn't get Wilson any protection. They don't know how to use Jimmy Graham. I think it's best for them to trade Jimmy Graham for some type of relief and help on the offensive line. Eddie Lacy was shut down. But Green Bay also was shut down. Just Seattle defense. You can't hold Aaron Rodgers down for 4 quarters. And he made one big pass on a penalty, and that was all she wrote. Dallas and New York. New York is terrible. You can't be terrible and expect to win the NFC East. You can't be terrible up front with your offensive line. You got to be able to run the ball. They can't run the ball. Either they can't run block or the running backs they got, which is not too good. And if you can't run and protect Eli Madden and run the ball, and you expect him to drop back 40, 50 times a game, a guy who led the league interceptions in three times different times, a little tired, then it's gonna be a long, long year for y'all. But I look for them to adjust. Brandon Marshall got to play better. Sterling Shepard's coming off injury. I think they're going to adjust. The defense is big time. I just don't understand why they didn't sign a guy like Adrian Peterson. Maybe they should call New Orleans for a trade for him because he ain't being used right over there. In Dallas, they picked off right what they left off at. Dak Prescott don't look like he got no rookie, sophomore slump coming. Zeke ran like a man out there. They're going to be all right. The defense, I can't gauge their defense because how bad the New York Giants was. So we'll wait and see on that one. But Monday night, New Orleans, Minnesota. New Orleans just sucks. Drew Brees is on a decline. You can tell that Sean Payton is just words welcome out of New Orleans. I look for this to be his last year, unless it's a miracle turnaround. In Minnesota, I don't know how good they are until next week. I think they play. I forgot who they play next week. It's a good team, but we'll see, man. I'm not putting no stock in it, but Arizona, Detroit, Carson Palmer, is done. He looked very terrible Sunday. I watched that game, and he looked terrible, man. Their offense is probably going to be a lot worse with David Johnson being out with a wrist injury. Matthew Stafford, they had a tough start with the special teams and some of the offensive woes, but he got it together. They made the adjustment. Kenny Galladay, that's a name you want to hear. You need to hear. You don't got Kenny Galladay in your league, or FanDuel will pick him up. He should be off waiver wires. He's a big-time receiver and should make a lot of plays. He's a very good receiver, a guy that grew additional 4 inches in college and is fast as fuck and tall, 6'4". Going to be going against a lot of second and third cornerbacks in the league as well. Next week is going to be a barn burner. Like last night, we had another great game with Los Angeles Chargers and the Denver Broncos. 2 black coaches going at it, 2 black rookie coaches. Trevor Siemian looked a lot improved into the fourth quarter. Phillip Rivers came alive. The Chargers just have so much talent on the team. It's so much talent on that team that I don't understand why they couldn't put it together. They need to get a well-rounded coach. One of my guys said that they always got a coach that's a defense specialist or offensive specialist. They need a coach. They need a coach that can coach and manage the game. He don't have to be a specialist. That's why you got the offensive defensive coordinator. But they came up short. Keenan Allen looked good coming off the torn ACL, I think it's or Achilles injury. Travis Benjamin looked good. The offense looked good. They blocked, very well. Denver looked good. C.J. Anderson looked very, very good, healthy this year. And, both teams could be dark horse for the Super Bowl, in my opinion, especially if Trevor Siemian continues to play well for Denver. But San Diego has a lot of talent on defense and offense. 2 of the premier young pass rushers in Ingram and Bosa. 2 corners in Verrett and Casey Hayward. Trey Boston is going to be an emerging star in the secondary. I just don't understand why they can never put it together. But we were 8-6 this week on picks, and we get into picks probably tomorrow, Thursday. But it's going to be another hell of a week 2. Atlanta and Green Bay Sunday night. New York Giants and Detroit, New York Monday night. Week 2 is going to be lit. You know what to expect for fantasy. I would just, caution on this side, don't mess with anybody from Arizona offense, you know what I'm saying? But I think you should start as many players as you can in the Atlanta Green Bay game. I mean, especially on the Atlanta side. I think Atlanta is going to really do well versus Green Bay in the fantasy side. And we're going to see what Green Bay defense is made of. I don't think it's improved on paper, but they look good versus Seattle. But Seattle has a lot of deficiencies. They have a 5'11" quarterback that with no running backs that can run the ball, with a piss poor offensive line, a tight end that they don't know how to use. So this is going to be a true test for Green Bay, a true litmus test to see how good they are this week. And we're going to see how good some of these other guys as well are. And shout out to Jared Goff, for getting on track and blowing out the coach and showing people why he can be the comeback player of the year. The Los Angeles Rams did, wonderful versus the Indianapolis Andrew Luck Colts with Scott Tolzien at quarterback. But Goff is looking to silence the haters. And we're going to get into the predictions and, NFL picks next week.